Hey everyone, Steven Harrold here from the Ginger Snaps here with a quick little video update for you guys. On February 22nd, I will be taking part in a video with Sledgehammer Horror, where I'll be discussing my first horror movie. So if you guys have been a fan of his channel for quite some time, you'll know exactly what his shtick is when it comes to that. He talks to a lot of other horror fans about their first horror movie experience, and I am so thrilled to finally take part in that as well. Then on March 4th, I will be on the podcast in the woods, where I will be once again talking with Gabby Gore, formerly known from the Horror Haven LLC, who we will be discussing the Blair Witch Project. I'm super looking forward to all those video opportunities with other podcasts all around the world, with other horror fans all around the world. And hopefully you guys check them out as well on YouTube or on Spotify. Anyways guys, that's it for me. Enjoy the video. Hello everyone, welcome to the Ginger Snaps here, where I'll be discussing horror movies with you guys in a very blunt way. I am your host, Steven Harrold, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing for you guys The Evil Dead, which was released in 1981 and was directed by Sam Raimi. In preparation for the release of the Evil Dead Rise film coming to theaters on April 21st, I had decided to review the whole Evil Dead franchise. Now, of course, I'm excluding the Ash vs. Evil Dead series because, I just wanted to mainly focus on the 4 feature films that were released in theaters. So, of course, with this first film, of course, everyone already knows that this was a film that Sam Raimi worked his ass off on, 12 weeks to be exact, to make sure this movie went out to the public. And of course, it's one of the films that's also kind of quotable in a way, and it kickstarted this amazing franchise. So, of course, it's about time that I actually sit down and watch The Evil Dead again and give you guys my review. So without further ado, here's the review for The Evil Dead. The story of this film is actually a bunch of college students actually go to a cabin in the middle of the woods just to have a good time and get away and everything. And they happen to stumble upon a recording and also a book. That book being the Necronomicon, which is the Book of the Dead. The recording also recites a certain passage from the book, and it awakens the dead, the evil inside the woods, and all hell breaks loose on every single character in the film. Now, for this story, it was kind of the first time we got to see a cabin in the woods type of thing that was not Friday the 13th, where it was evil forces coming to be. And of course, with that being said, Sam Raimi was smart to do a film like this, especially a film that was balls to the wall, that was something that no one had ever seen before, and it works. The only problem with this movie when it comes to the fact that this movie came out in 1981 was that, of course, even though it was popular, a lot of people obviously, drove to the theaters for other slasher horror movies. So this movie kind of stuck out quite firmly when it came to the audiences. But nonetheless, with the story of this movie, it still nails its premise. As for the characters of this movie, of course, there is not really much of a unlikable character in this film. I mean, we do have Bruce Campbell's Ash Williams in this film. At the time, he was not like the quintessential hero that we know him as today. He was pretty much just the guy who was just there for the time at the cabin just to have a good time. Now, at this time, of course, as we all know, horror movies, they always had a female lead that was always the last survivor. This was one of the first few horror movies where a male was the last survivor in a horror movie. And with the characters themselves, I mean, like, they are, standalone, pretty much good people. But the only problem is that, some of their dialogue can be a little bit cringeworthy, I guess you could say. I mean, like, some of the things they say, some of the things that were put on the script, they kind of don't land half the time, but nonetheless, the characters are still very much likable in this film. Now, of course, this movie is not like Halloween. This movie is not like Friday the 13th. It does not have a antagonist who wears a mask, who carries a machete around, carries a knife, kills a bunch of people, is the evil forces from hell that were summoned by the Necronomicon. So they possess the bodies of certain people that are at the cabin, and of course, when they do possess them, some random wild shit happens. Now, this is why this movie kind of got panned back in the day, because of how surreal it was and how completely inappropriate it could have been. And at the time, horror movies never did go those routes. I mean, like, we did have Black Christmas that said a very vulgar kind of things, but we never had it to this extent. Even, like, this movie came out after The Exorcist did. So it was a while before this film like this ever came out. And of course, with the Deadites, or the evil spirits from the Necronomicon, being what they are, pretty much also emphasized that the effects of this movie were going to be something to behold. One of the positives about this movie, obviously, is the effects. Of course, you know, with Sam Raimi, he has a certain style to him. We all know prevalently with Sam Raimi, when it came to the Spider-Man trilogy, he likes to shoot the camera in certain ways. He likes to have excess, everything. Like, 1 gallon of blood isn't enough. You have to have fucking 10 gallons of blood, right? Like, a standard wound would have a geyser of blood coming out of it. It was intense. Now, with the effects themselves, you know, they look like they're a little bit outdated because, you know, Sam Raimi wasn't really given much of a budget to do this film. And like I said in the intro of this video, it took him 12 weeks to do this film. Now, back in the day, a lot of, you know, films had like maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. 12 weeks was quite a bit. Now, when it comes to the effects of this movie, of course, the practical effects, top-notch. Now, we do see stop motion in this movie. Now, sadly, the stop motion, as much as I praise it and adore it in a way, it is very much of a time. Like, it's not the greatest stop motion, but still has some charm to it. Like, I don't know what it is with stop motion animation. It's a one thing of cinematic art that just refuses to die. And sometimes it looks great, but sadly, with Evil Dead, the stop motion animation is kind of outdated. Bottom line, The Evil Dead is one of those films that is just cherished by a lot of people. There's a lot of fans who get behind this movie and love it for what it is. Now, of course, a lot of people do tend to like the second film better, or hell, even like the remake better, or hell, even like the third film better. Now, of course, a lot of people do defend the Evil Dead film and for what it was. Of course, like I said, the minor nitpick I have was maybe some of the dialogue, or maybe character motivations, or hell, even like the outdated stop motion animation. But other than that, this movie was still a wild ride to watch. It was great to revisit at this time, and you know, it had been quite some time since I had seen The Evil Dead, and I was like, you know, I can't wait to pop this fucker back in. And honestly, it's one of those movies that I can't wait to pop in again. So, for my rating, I'm going to give The Evil Dead from 1981 a 7 out of 10. So tell me, guys, what do you think of The Evil Dead? Is it one of the films that you cherish as well and love watching from time to time? Or is it one of the films that just happens to be forgotten with the other superior sequels? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure you also hit that thumbs up and also subscribe for more content. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so you can get notified of all the other videos coming out on this channel. Especially with all the Evil Dead films leading up to Evil Dead Rise in April. Now, that's it for me, guys. This has been the Ginger Snaps here. My name is Steven Harrold, and I will talk to you guys later. And remember, stay spooky.